That flame is not giving off light. I don't mean it's badly painted. I mean it is physically incapable of it. There is not one photon coming out of that candle, and there never has been. It's a smear of yellow ochre mixed with a little lead white sitting on a piece of canvas in a room in Paris, and it is about as luminous as the wall behind you. And yet you can feel the heat coming off that child's fingers. Georges de la Tour painted that around 1642. He knew perfectly well that paint cannot glow. Every painter who ever lived knew it, and for 400 years they all had to live with the same humiliating fact. The single most powerful thing in Western art, the thing Caravaggio built a career on and Turner chased until it half destroyed his reputation, is the one thing oil paint fundamentally cannot do. So they lied about it, every single one of them. Van Eyck lied, Caravaggio lied, Rembrandt lied. Turner lied so hard that critics accused him of painting with tinted steam. And the strange part, the part that took me a while to accept, is that they weren't hiding it from us. They were hiding it from each other. Because in a market where every painter was faking the same impossible thing, the man who faked it best got the commission. This is the story of the biggest technical failure in the history of art. 400 years of the most gifted people alive, all failing at exactly the same thing, all knowing they were failing, and not one of them willing to stop. And once you know what they were doing, I'm afraid you can't walk through a museum the same way again. Start with the thing nobody tells you about paint. A painting has no light of its own. None. When you stand in front of a Rembrandt and it seems to glow at you from across the room, what's actually happening is that a bulb in the ceiling is throwing light down onto a flat surface, and some of it is bouncing back into your eye. The painting is completely passive. It's a mirror having a very complicated day. A flame is the opposite. A flame makes light. It doesn't borrow it from anywhere, and it makes an obscene amount of it. The candle on a restaurant table is putting out light on a scale that white paint cannot approach. Because white paint isn't producing anything, it's just handing back a fraction of what the room already gave it. So a painter trying to paint a candle has already lost. They need the flame to be the brightest thing in the picture. The brightest thing they own is white paint. And white paint isn't bright. It's just the least dark thing in the box. And it got worse, because for most of this story, there was only one white, lead white. That's it. That was the only white pigment in European easel painting from antiquity until the 19th century. Every highlight in every masterpiece you've ever loved, every gleam on every helmet, every flash on every pearl, is the same lead carbonate paste made by hanging strips of lead over vinegar in a sealed pot full of horse manure until they corroded. Zinc white doesn't arrive until the 1800s. Titanium white is a 20th century pigment. Van Eyck, Caravaggio, Latour, Rembrandt, Vermeer, all of them working with the identical white for 400 years, and it was never going to be bright enough. Gerard van Honthorst built his entire life around this problem. The Italians called him Gerardo delle Notti, Gerard of the Nights, because he painted almost nothing else. And look at that light. It's ferocious, blowing out the faces around it. The shepherds are squinting into it. It feels genuinely hot. Now watch me take it away from him. Same painting. Same paint. I haven't touched the flame. All I've done is lift the darkness around it in an editing program, and it dies. That ferocious light collapses into what it always was, a patch of pale cream, no brighter than the collar on the shepherd's shirt. Honthorst's fire was never fire. It was a contrast trick. And the second you break the contrast, the trick is just sitting there on the table, looking embarrassed. That's the whole game. Nobody in this video ever painted fire. They painted darkness extremely carefully and left a gap where the fire should be. Your brain does the rest, because your brain has never seen a painting glow either, and it isn't expecting one to start now. 4 centuries. 4 completely different ways of running the same con. Let's watch them work. The first solution wasn't paint at all. It was metal. And it was better than anything that came after it for 200 years. Medieval painters had gold leaf, beaten thin enough that it's measured in fractions of a hair, laid over red clay, burnished until it worked as a mirror. And here's what makes it different from every pigment that has ever existed. Gold is not passive. It throws light back at you. Move your head, and it moves with you. Now think about where this panel actually lived. not a gallery with track lighting. Siena Cathedral in 1311 on a winter afternoon lit by candles, and we know that for a fact because when they installed it, the entire city shut down and carried it through the streets in procession by candlelight, with the bishop and the Council of Nine walking behind it. Every workshop in Siena closed for the day. So picture the thing in place. Hundreds of flames in a dark stone room, all of them landing on that gold and bouncing off it, and the gold flickering because the fire is flickering. And to the man kneeling in front of it, the painting is alive. It's breathing. Duccio never painted light. He installed a device that stole the real light out of the room and handed it back. It is the single most effective solution anyone found in 400 years. And painters threw it in the bin. They threw it out because gold has one fatal flaw. It has no shape. A gold halo glows, but it glows flatly, uniformly, everywhere at once, forever. It doesn't weaken as it travels. It doesn't wrap around a cheekbone. It doesn't dim on the far side of a room. Gold can tell you that something is holy. It cannot tell you that something is standing 3 feet away from a candle. And by the 1430s, that is exactly what painters had started wanting. Rooms, depth, air, objects sitting at measurable distances from each other, with light behaving accordingly. Gold couldn't give them any of it, because gold was never light. It was a symbol of light, a sign that says light here. So they walked away from the only thing that had ever actually worked, and the moment they did, they fell straight into the hole. 434. The same year Fra Angelico is in Cortona laying gold leaf behind an angel. Jan van Eyck finishes this in Bruges, and it is the most obsessively observed painting anyone had made in the history of the world up to that point. Look at the brass. Look at how it picks up the window with, and this is the National Gallery's own phrase, astonishing clarity. Look at the dog. You can count the hairs. Look at the convex mirror on the back wall, which reflects the entire room and which is ringed by 10 medallions showing scenes from the Passion of Christ, each one smaller than a fingernail, each one still legible 600 years later. Above the mirror Van Eyck has written, in curling Latin script, Johannes de Eyck voert hic was, not painted this, was here. He's signing the room like a witness statement. Now look at the chandelier. There is one candle burning in daylight. People have argued about why, for a century, the all-seeing eye of God. A marriage candle, take your pick. The argument is genuinely unresolved, and anyone who tells you they've settled it is selling something. And there's a detail that makes it stranger. The National Gallery notes that the chandelier holds one lit candle and one that has been snuffed out. Some historians read that as the living man and the dead wife. But set the meaning aside for a moment. Look at what that flame is physically doing. It doesn't warm the brass an inch away from it. It doesn't touch the ceiling. It doesn't put a single glint anywhere in the room. It is a small yellow shape sitting on a wick, doing absolutely nothing. In a painting where a terrier's individual hairs are rendered correctly and a mirror frame a few centimeters wide contains 10 legible scenes from the Passion. That is not a mistake. That is Jan van Eyck. If he had wanted that flame to throw light, it would throw light. He didn't because he couldn't afford to. The room is lit by the window on the left. If the candle also lit the room, he would have 2 light sources fighting each other, 2 sets of shadows pointing in 2 directions, and the entire spatial illusion, the thing he actually cared about, the thing he was showing off, would collapse in front of him. So he made a decision. And the next 150 years of European painting was built on it. He painted the flame as an object, a thing that is there, not a thing that is doing something. It's the first great fire cheat in Western art. It's hiding in one of the most studied paintings in Europe, and almost nobody looks at it. And then, right at the end of this era, Hieronymus Bosch does something almost by accident that nobody properly understands for another 300 years. The burning city in the Hell panel is one of the great paintings of fire in existence, and it works because Bosch is not painting fire. He's painting a fire that has already won. There's smoke, orange bleeding across the underside of the clouds, buildings collapsing into brightness so complete that you only get their outlines, tiny black figures running, their shapes eaten from behind by light, and reflections skidding across the water underneath. Every one of those things is a consequence of fire. Not one of them is fire. Look at the water. There is more fire in that reflection than there is in the fire. Bosch found the loophole. If you can't paint the source, paint the evidence, and let the viewer hallucinate a flame that was never on the panel. He almost certainly didn't know what he'd found. We know almost nothing about what Bosch thought about anything. No letters survive, no notes, no record of a single opinion. It takes another century, and a man with a criminal record, for anyone to work out what to do with it. In 1599, a violent, unstable, frankly dangerous 28-year-old in Rome gets his first major public commission. It comes through his patron, Cardinal del Monte. The contract is signed in July. The money is 400 eccus for 2 side canvases. They are installed a year later, in the holy year of 1600, and European painting is never the same again. Because his solution to the fire problem is the one thing every painter for 2 centuries had been too sensible to try. Give up. Stop trying to paint light. Paint the dark instead, and let the light be the hole you leave in it. This canvas is over 3 meters wide. Look how much of it is simply gone. Swallowed. There's a wall, some men at a table, and an enormous quantity of nothing. Caravaggio has thrown away half his painting. Now find the light source. There's a window at the top of the composition. It's shuttered. The light comes in from the right, above the figures, from outside the frame, from somewhere Caravaggio never shows you and never explains. It cuts across the wall in a hard diagonal. It lands on Matthew's face. He didn't paint a light source. He painted the consequences of one that isn't there and dared you to ask. And here's the detail that makes it genuinely audacious. The Contarelli Chapel has one small window. It is the chapel's only source of natural light. Caravaggio aligned the light inside the painting with the real light coming through the real window. So a man kneeling in that chapel in 1600 saw the painted beam and the actual daylight arriving from the same direction and could not tell you where one ended and the other began. He couldn't make the paint glow. So he borrowed the sun, watched the light die. Bright on Christ's wrist, dimmer at the fingertips, barely there on the hand at the table a meter away. Gone, completely in the shadow behind. That fade, light getting weaker as it travels across a room, is the exact thing gold could never do, and Van Eyck's candle never even attempted. And he got it without a single new pigment. Same lead white, same corroded metal in a pot. He just dug the floor out from underneath it. Push your darks down far enough, and your perfectly ordinary white suddenly has somewhere to travel from. He didn't find a brighter light. He built a deeper cellar. There's one more joke in there, aimed at people who'd get it. Christ's pointing hand is a near mirror of Adam's hand in Michelangelo's creation of Adam. Caravaggio's actual first name was Michelangelo. He's quoting the Sistine Chapel in a tavern full of tax collectors, and he knows exactly who in Rome will notice. It worked so completely that within 20 years, half of Europe was painting like this. They have a name, the Caravaggisti. It's one of the only times in art history you can watch a technique spread across a continent almost in real time, like a rumor. Artemisia Gentileschi takes the technique and pushes it harder than Caravaggio ever did. Same unexplained light from the left. Same collapse into black. But she uses it structurally. The light picks out precisely the 3 arms doing the work and lets the entire rest of the room drown. Grand Duke Cosimo de' Medici commissioned this one. She was paid 50 scudi. She was the first woman admitted to the Academy of Design in Florence. And a Grand Duchess later found the painting so disturbing she had it moved to a part of the Uffizi where nobody would come across it by accident. That's how you know a technique is properly landed. Not when people copy it. When somebody uses it to think with, but the man who finally actually paints a candle is the one we started with. And to see what he did, you have to put him next to Van Eyck. Left, 1434. A candle that is a thing. It sits there. It emits nothing. Nothing around it knows it exists. Right. 208 years later. A candle that is an event. Latour has the child put his hand in front of the flame, and the hand lights up, not reflected light. The flesh has gone translucent. The light is coming through it. The fingers are red at the edges because there is blood between the fire and your eye. And blood is what light looks like when you force it through a child's hand. Nobody had ever put that on a canvas. And notice what he still hasn't done. He hasn't painted the fire. He's painted what fire does to a hand at 4 centimeters and left your brain to supply a flame, that is, on the actual canvas, a daub of ochre you could cover with a thumbnail. Take the color out and it's a hand. Put it back and it's a hand with fire behind it. 2 centuries of progress, the greatest candle in Western art. And the whole thing is riding on a band of red, about 1 centimeter wide, and it goes deeper than a technical flex. Latour does this again in The Education of the Virgin. The child, hand raised, lit through the flesh. The standard art historical reading is that the light isn't really coming from the candle at all. It's coming from the boy. He is the light of the world, and the candle is the excuse. In this painting, the wood on the floor is arranged in a cross, and the auger Joseph is turning is shaped like one. The child is holding a light he is going to become, watching his father drill the holes. So the finest painted flame in Western art is a piece of theology, executed by a man who knew his paint could not glow, and solved by lighting up a child's hand instead. And here's the part that should bother you. Latour is closer to the truth than anyone before him, and he is still lying. That flame is the same lead white and the same yellow ochre every painter has been stuck with since 1400. It has not got 1 lumen brighter. He just became a magnificent liar. The Baroque didn't solve the problem. It hid it so well that for 60 years everyone forgot the problem was there. And then somebody remembered and decided to make the problem the subject. Joseph Wright of Derby does something in the 1760s that is honestly a bit insolent. Look at the full title of this painting. A philosopher giving that lecture on the orrery in which a lamp is put in place of the sun. He's telling you the trick in the title. The lamp is behind the model of the solar system. You cannot see it. It is standing in for the sun, and Wright has arranged the entire painting so that the thing lighting the room is the thing the room is about. This is not a technical advance. Wright cannot paint a brighter light than Latour could. Same pigments, same ceiling, same physics, same trap. He's taken the impossibility and made it the point. You can't see the source because you're not allowed to. The failure has been promoted to subject matter, and once you're permitted to be clever about it rather than merely good at it, the whole thing cracks open. Turner is where 400 years of cheating arrives at something like honesty. By cheating harder than anyone had ever cheated. Look at that sun. It isn't a shape. There's no edge on it anywhere. Turner has abandoned the idea that light has a boundary at all. The sun bleeds, it stains the cloud, it runs down into the water and smears sideways across the entire bottom of the canvas. And the second he does that, the physics stops mattering, because your eye has never seen a hard-edged sun either. He isn't painting what a sun is. He's painting what looking at a sun does to you, which is, if you think about it, exactly what Duccio was doing in 1311 with gold leaf in a candlelit cathedral. Duccio used metal to hijack the light already in the room. Turner uses paint to hijack the light already in your eye. 530 years apart, same instinct. Stop trying to make the picture glow and make the viewer do it. Now find the tugboat, that small black thing dragging the great warship to the breaker's yard. There is a fire in that funnel, real industrial coal fire. And it's a smear of orange less than 1 centimeter across. It's the smallest fire in the painting, and it's the only honest one. The sun is a mood. The tug is what's actually burning. And what it's burning is the ship, and then Parliament burns down. The evening of the 16th of October, 1834. The Times reports the next morning that shortly before 7 o'clock, the inhabitants of Westminster were thrown into utter confusion by one of the most terrific conflagrations witnessed in years. Tens of thousands of people come out to watch the seat of British government burn. Turner is one of them. He's on the South Bank, and at some point in a rented boat, and he is sketching. Pencil and watercolor, 2 separate sketchbooks. Those sketchbooks still exist. He watched the Houses of Lords and Commons burn to the ground, and he took notes. Then he paints it twice. 2 canvases, 2 viewpoints, both exhibited in 1835. One at the British Institution, one at the Royal Academy. And he spent hours on Varnishing Day, in public, still reworking them. And what he produces is the most radical thing in this entire story. Not a flame, not a source, a condition of the sky. The whole upper half of the canvas is fire that has stopped being an object and become an atmosphere. It's in the smoke. It's in the river. It's on the faces of the crowd on Westminster Bridge. It's everywhere, and it's nowhere you can point at. He exaggerated the height of the flames. He distorted the bridge until the perspective buckles. Accuracy was never the objective. Now put it next to Bosch, 340 years apart. The same solution, arrived at from opposite ends. Bosch painted the glow on the clouds and the reflections on the water because he had no idea how to paint fire. Turner painted the glow on the clouds and the reflections on the water because he had worked out that nobody should. Bosch fell through the loophole. Turner walked through it on purpose with his hands in his pockets and the pigments. Still the same problem. Turner's brightest yellow is still, physically, dimmer than a lit match. 400 years, and that ceiling never moved by a millimeter. Every painter in this video was working out of a box of paint that could not glow, and every one of them made you see fire anyway. So, was every master painting fire wrong? Yes, all of them. Continuously, for 400 years, without one exception. There is not a single physically possible flame in this entire video. Van Eyck's, Bosch's, Caravaggios, Gentileschis, Latour's, Wright's, Turner's. Everyone is a patch of dull mineral pretending to be a source of energy. But that isn't the interesting part. The interesting part is that they all knew. Not one of these people was confused about the physics. Van Eyck knew his candle wasn't lighting anything. That's exactly why he put a window in. Caravaggio knew he couldn't paint bright, which is precisely why he went dark, and why he stole the chapel's own window to finish the job. Latour knew his flame was ochre, so he painted a hand instead and let you do the rest. Wright knew you'd catch him, so he hid the lamp and put the trick in the title. Turner knew a sun can't have an edge, so he refused to give it one. 400 years of the most talented people who have ever lived, all standing in front of the same immovable wall, every one of them deciding to walk around it in a different direction. And not one of them saying so out loud. An object, a hole in the dark, a hand, weather, 4 answers to one impossible question, spread across 4 centuries, and not one of them is a flame. Here's what you can do now, and I'm sorry, but it won't go away. Next time you're in a gallery and you find a painting with a fire in it, a candle, a lamp, a forge, a city burning, you'll learn nothing from the fire. The fire is the part they faked. Look at what's next to it. Look at how dark they were willing to let the corners go. Look at whether the light actually dies as it travels, or just stops dead, like Van Eyck's. Find the hand, the sleeve, the cheek that's catching it, and look at whether they showed you the source, or hid it from you, and then ask yourself why they made that particular choice, in that particular room, for that particular patron. Every fire in every painting in every museum on earth is a confession. It's a painter telling you, in the only language they had, which impossible thing they decided to attempt, and exactly which corner they cut to get away with it. Which brings me to this. Joseph Wright, 1768, the largest and most ambitious candlelit painting he ever made, 6 feet by 8. A cockatoo is dying in a glass jar, so a room full of people can watch what happens when you take the air away. A girl can't look. Another girl watches anyway. 2 lovers aren't paying attention. And the lecturer stares straight out of the canvas at you, hand on the valve, as if asking what you think he should do. And the whole thing is lit by 1 candle. Where is it? Look for it. You won't find it because Wright has put it behind a large round glass bowl in the middle of the table. And inside that bowl, in the liquid, sitting between the flame and everything you can see, is a human skull. Every scrap of light in that painting has passed through a skull first. It's a vanitas. The bird is going to die, the science is a parlor trick, everyone in the room will be dead in a century, and the light that lets you see any of it is coming through a piece of a dead man's head. Now look at what else is in there. The corners, gone, swallowed, exactly as Caravaggio taught. The faces glowing, the boy's collar, the girl's fingers, exactly as Latour taught. The curved glass throwing the light back at you, which is precisely, exactly what Duccio's gold was doing 450 years earlier in a cathedral in Siena, and a full moon through the window at the back. Because Wright belonged to a society of scientists who met by moonlight so they could ride home safely, and he couldn't resist. Every cheat in this video is in this one painting. Wright inherited all of them, used all of them, and hid the source behind a skull just to prove he could. And in the middle of it, doing all the work, holding up 10 faces and 2 centuries of technique, is a small patch of pale yellow paint that has never emitted a single photon in 258 years of existence. It's the best lie in art history.